Modern times and new era in the European Western culture. The term modern times was coined in the 16th century to indicate present or recent times. It might seem strange to date the beginning of the modern times to so long ago, but in many ways it was the scientific, political, and economic revolutions of the 17th and 18th centuries that have most shaped our own society. The most famous century in the modern times is the 17th. It was called the Enlightenment. In many ways, it furthers the interest in the individual seen in the Italian Renaissance and more widely during the Protestant Reformation. Thinkers such as Rousseau, Voltaire, and Diderot asserted our ability to reason for ourselves instead of relying on the teachings of established institutions such as the Church. The modern times is also referred to the historiographical approach to the time frame after the post-classical era known as the Middle Ages. Modern era describes the period time frame that is closely connected to the present day. It is a certain perspective of modern history. The New Era period has seen the 20th century as one of its most violent in history. It included two world wars, the Cold War, the dismantling of colonialism, and the invention of the totalitarian state. Dictators such as Mussolini, Hitler, Stalin, and Idi Amin imposed extreme political systems that caused mass starvation, mass dislocation, and genocide. At the same time, the 20th century was marked by the struggle for human rights and the rise of global capitalism. The Western literature, also known as European literature, is the literature written in the context of Western culture in the languages of Europe, including the ones belonging to the Indo-European language family, as well as several geographically or historically related languages such as Basque and Hungarian. Western literature is considered one of the defining elements of Western civilization. The most known literature characters are amongst oligolically Victor Hugo, Dante, Racine, or Corneille. During the modern times and new era, the native religions of Europe were polytheistic but not homogeneous. However, they were similar insofar as they were predominantly Indo-European in origin. Roman religion was similar but not the same as Hellenic religion, likewise the same for indigenous Germanic polities, Celtic polities, and Slavic polities. Western culture, for at least the last 1,000 years, has been considered nearly synonymous with Christian culture. Before this time, many Europeans from the north, especially Scandinavians, remained polytheistic, though southern Europe was predominantly Christian from the 5th century onward. As in other areas, Judaism is found in the Western world. Minority groups, and Jews in particular, often had to contend with discrimination and persecution. This could include being subjected to violence and/or destruction of property, as well as being expelled or banned from various polities, hoping to find heavens in other places. A tendency toward monogamy, a tendency towards simple family structure based on the nuclear family, as well as a greater tendency for marriage to be companionate and based on mutual affection of the partners and a de-emphasis on extended kinship, relationships and its correlative, makes the religion in Western culture unique. Since classical antiquity, sport has been an important facet of Western cultural expression. A wide range of sports were already established by the time of ancient Greece, and the military culture and the development of sports in Greece influenced one another considerably. Sports became such a prominent part of their culture that the Greeks created the Olympic Games, which in ancient times were held every 4 years in a small village of Olympia. Baron Pierre de Coubertin, a Frenchman, instigated the modern revival of the Olympic movement, and the first modern Olympic Games were held at Athens in 1896. The Romans built immense structures such as the Colosseum in Roma to host their festival of sport. The Romans exhibited a passion for blood sports such as the infamous gladiatorial battles that pitted contestants against one another in a fight to the death. The Olympic Games revived many of the sports of classical antiquity such as Greco-Roman wrestling, discus, and javelin. Football, also known as soccer, remains usually popular in Europe, but has grown from its origin to be known as the word game. Similarly, sports such as cricket, rugby, and netball were exported around the world, particularly among countries in the Commonwealth of Nations. Thus, India and Australia are among the strongest cricketing nations. It was the West that first developed steam power and adapted its use into factories and for the generation of electrical power. Electrical motor, dynamo, transformer, electric light, and indeed most of the familiar electrical appliances were inventions of the West. During New Era, water on the moon was found as well as was made the radio communication or the hydraulic engineering. Communication devices and systems including the telegraph, the telephone, radio, television, communication and navigation satellites, as well as mobile phone and the internet were all invented by Westerners. The pencil, ballpoint pen, LED, camera and photocopier were also invented in the West. As a conclusion, in contrast to the pre-modern era, Western civilization made a gradual transition from pre-modernity to modernity when scientific methods were developed which led many to believe that the use of science would lead to all knowledge. Regarding the new era, we cannot say with precision if this time frame is ever going to have an end, as its history is building from the past centuries until now.